Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who has been hunting jumpers since the medieval ages because he is an immortal paladin. It's Norbert Morvan.
Yes, sir. Only God is allowed to have these powers.
Can I ask you a question?
Do it.
In the medieval ages, right? And you were a paladin, and so I'm assuming you just had a bow and arrow and a sword. You probably didn't have like. For the time, your technology was advanced. But
Exactly.
it wasn't where it was in 2009. So
Correct.
When you're battling jumpers, right, how do you catch them?
Well, as you know, it was depicted in the film that we use electricity to shatter their ability to teleport across space and time. So because we didn't have, cathode ray tubes and, shall we say, higher technology like plastic, we would just stick a pole in the ground and then wait for rainy days to come by, and hopefully then, some lightning would come and we would catch jumpers that way. So
it's just a lot of hanging out.
There's a lot of hanging out, a lot of prayer to the gods that we worshipped at the time, Bot and all that, and lightning would come and, oh, there's a jumper. Ah, we got him,
So it's
hail set.
Essentially by luck. By luck you're catching them, correct?
That's it, because, your regular throwing knife, it's not going to do well when a guy, can just, his jump scar. Oh my God.
So I heard about one time when the jumper jumped to America and you got on a boat to follow him there and it took you a year. And when you got there, he jumped back to England. How mad were you?
The worst thing about traveling across the ocean during that time, it's beyond just the up and down of the sea. I got motion sickness. There was no Dramamine at the time.
Yep.
Times were hard.
And you landed in Newfoundland.
Oh man. So everybody is there, they're throwing salmon at me and stuff. And I'm like, guys, I don't have my electric equipment here. Can we calm down? Where's the jumper? I didn't have my silver hair yet, like my boy Sam Jack. It was hard. It was hard.
And then you trekked all the way to Boston, and then you're like, yeah, he left yesterday.
And there were no Celtics games at the time. This made it difficult. It made it very difficult to hang out in Boston. Very difficult.
What did you have? Like, you had the Paladins in England, the Paladins in Scotland, America. What were the Paladins like in the different countries? Were you guys just like a big crew? What were the Paladins like? Because you guys were zealots, correct?
The Paladins in England, they just want to drink a lot of gin. The Paladins in Ireland, all they want to do is, it was weird. They always want to do the dance and slunge and all that stuff. All I want to do is kill jumpers, and everybody else, they want to party all the time, a la Eddie Murphy and Rick James, cocaine wasn't a thing yet. It was hard. It was hard, man. It was difficult.
You know that Mitch Hedberg joke where he's like, I saw a wino, he was eating a grape. And I said, just wait, man. So they were all telling you, hey, just wait for this lightning to hit this pole and we might hit a jumper who's crossing paths. You're like, I'm not going to wait. And you're like, well, you go walk.
Hedberg. Absolutely.
And then you're like, well, I guess I'll go walk 10 miles to see if it's there.
I would walk 10,000 miles and You set that up, man. I had to knock it down.
Are you saying that they were paladins?
This is the thing. Those guys, why else would they walk 500 miles? Not for a woman. There's no way,
They want to kill a jumper.
I would walk 500 miles to kill a jumper. He's against God. Those were the original lyrics.
So, all right. That's interesting. Now, I have another question for you.
Do it.
Were you also responsible for the witch hunts and inquisitions?
Well, the thing about it is, the witches, they were so much less interesting than the jumpers, because the jumpers, they jump into the king's palace, for example, and they come out with pieces of 8 or credible silver or maybe some chainmail. Witches, they're trying to resurrect mice and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So we kept the witches around because some of them were hot. They kind of dressed like goth chicks today, which was cool. But, you saw the movie, man. The jumpers, they're all cocky and, oh, I can jump. Look at me. Oh, I went to France yesterday. What did you do? Oh, I washed the dishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody liked that browse around.
Now, also, when you were taking part in the Inquisition, did you meet Mel Brooks?
Man. history of the world. Nice.
The Inquisition.
Yeah, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition, though. You know what I'm saying?
It's good to be king.
It is. It is.
Now, I have another question about jumpers. I had never thought about this, but at the final battle, when I think they're in Czechoslovakia.
They were all over the Sokovia?
Yeah.
The Sokovia? What?
Oh man, they're just getting bombed by everybody. So I guess Marvel takes place in there. But so Jamie Bell gets electrocuted and he's fine.
Yes.
He has so much electricity pass through him. If you and I were standing there holding hands for some reason and that hit us, we would explode. Correct?
Correct.
But it hits him and he's totally cool.
Well, this is the thing. The powers are defined as you can teleport through space and time to any place in your imagination. And they kind of cribbed from Marvel where, Nightcrawler, his power is as long as you've been there before, you can go there. But Nightcrawler was not impervious to electricity. And if he was on an electric tower as of the one in the movie, there's no way. He would explode. Absolutely. It's a weird movie.
And also, I just noticed this. I've watched, I've watched this movie a decade ago. First time I ever noticed this. Jamie Bell drives a truck into Hayden Christensen. Hayden and he gets hit.
He's fine.
He gets hit by he doesn't jump. I paused it, and the truck hits Hayden, and then Hayden just vanishes before he's smushed, and he's fine. So jumpers, but that makes sense now because when they jump, they dent things. So
they do.
So
as they displace space-time, I guess, electricity does a thing to physical stuff. It's ill-defined.
And what I like, though, is, this is where I make my money, Norbert, is in movies like these where they say, oh yeah, I was part of the witch hunts. And I'm like, wait, what?
Right.
Or or this scene where they get hit by a truck. Cause then these tiny moments in these movies, I can make a meal out of.
Absolutely. Break it down. It down.
I mean, so this movie, what I do like about it, right? $85 million budget, directed by Doug Liman, who is super, super hot. He was Hansel hot from Zoolander after Born Identity and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I mean, he was red hot.
Smith was a good movie.
Oh yeah. I just watched that again recently for that Brad Pitt eating article I wrote. And
it holds up.
Yeah, it really does hold up.
Great article.
Really holds up. And he's super hot at this time, Doug Liman.
Smoking.
So I gotta tell you something, Norbert. I'm probably one of the 14 people on this planet who know the most information about Jumper. Because I watched every single special feature on the Blu-ray and it was stacked. I mean,
Really?
So, this was originally, it was a book. It was adapted by David Goyer of Dark Knight and Batman Begins, all those. Then,
and I think also Blade he wrote.
Yeah, Blade, you're right. And then he went and then Simon Kinberg, the guy who's done all the recent X-Men movies, X-Men Days of Future Past, really smart guy, was writing it on set. Doug Liman directed this. This was a big pedigree. I mean, this movie had an $85 million budget. And they actually filmed in Egypt, Michigan, Ontario, Rome, Prague, New York City, Paris, Tokyo, and Mexico.
Really? I thought that was his green screen. That's crazy.
Yeah, so basically Doug Liman said, I am going to go around the world because I don't want to, they actually kind of slammed out, like we could be in a stage in Toronto on blue screen, or we could go there. So they were actually in the Coliseum. So every day for 3 days, they had 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes at night to shoot whatever they needed in the Coliseum. Unbelievable. Now,
that's nuts.
This is crazy though. On the behind the scenes documentary, there's a documentary called Behind the Scenes, Doug Liman Uncensored. And he must not give a shit because it made him look bad because they're in the Coliseum, 45 minutes, and they're like, Doug, where are you? Doug. And he's just running around with a camera. So on set, he changes everything. Kimberg's like, I wrote this last night, so I'm ahead of the game, but I'm going to change it 3 more times. When he shows up on set, when he was here making American Made, I was working on another movie. But I knew people were working on American Made, the Tom Cruise movie, so it was him and Tom Cruise, and I guess things changed a lot. And Edge of Tomorrow, I guess things changed a lot. But when you're with Tom Cruise, you kind of just roll with the punches. But
you got to go with the whims, exactly, the whims of Scientology, totally.
But this Doug Liman, so he would just show up and what I love about it is he did not care about himself looking bad. He's on set, he's like, we're changing this. I don't want to do this. We're doing that. We're doing this. There's an interview with Sam Jackson, right? And Sam Jackson says, I have done over 100 projects and I have never worked with a director like this. He's like, it's very interesting. So for Sam Jackson.
Interesting.
The thing is, it wasn't a totally negative interesting, cause I think if Sam Jackson didn't like it, he would say it. So I felt, and Doug Liman
with a mother effort. Totally.
Exactly. Doug Liman has worked with returning people, like multiple times. So I guess people come back to work with him. But he said that Jamie Bell, though, they walked up to him. They're like, Jamie, how you doing? And he goes off on this tirade. He's like, today I get here at 10:30. It's 6:30. I haven't shot anything yet. Why am I here? Yesterday, they're like, oh, hey, come get a haircut at 11:30. I sit there till 8:30 getting a haircut while everyone's leaving. Then I have to sit around waiting for the director to get in van so I can go back to my hotel. And he's just dropping every expletive known to man. All throughout the shoot, he's just swearing, cussing. There's a scene where Rachel Bilson is telling Doug Liman, she's like, I just really want to stop saying, like, I need help, or what are we doing? She's like, can I stop, like, saying that? Can I just stop being that? And then he just completely blew her off. And really? Well, not like blew her off, but he's like, I'm the director. And she was just
I know what you mean.
She just seemed really nice about it, and she was like, oh. But I have more respect for Hayden Christensen now, because, I think he just seemed super happy to be there. And he's just the chillest dude. Everything's changing.
He was trying not to be Anakin's.
Yeah. Exactly. No, you're absolutely. But on like waiting for Doug Liman, he was so chill. I'm gonna change gears again. Did you know that this movie Teresa Palmer and another guy were cast and they shot for 3 weeks, and then the studio said, wait, they're too young. We don't want them. So then they shut down production, hired Hayden Christensen. They actually looked at Eminem, but they hired Hayden Christensen. And I thought it pretty interesting because the director, Doug Liman, what he said he liked about Hayden Christensen is, the director, you've researched, but the director wanted this to be an anti-hero movie where he shot a scene where during the big thing at the end where Bilson gets captured, he just goes to a beach and he was going to leave her. And they didn't want to have a bomb somewhere because he would just like, hey, there's a bomb in Colorado. I'm going to Kazakhstan. Like anywhere thing, but his writers were like, you can't do that. So he wanted to do reshoots, but he couldn't do it because when you shoot in 7 countries, it's like kind of hard. And
clearly
they had to catch that release date, which I saw this movie in Korea. You saw this movie in Korea, correct?
I did, but I believe that I, quote unquote, acquired it through the internet.
Got it. You've heard my story 100 times. I was frozen on a walk on my first week there, getting over strep throat, and then I was just lost and I found a theater. Yeah, totally. I was like, I can go see Jumper. So I think that's why I love this movie so much. But it's pretty interesting, dude. They were like lost and cold. And you know those fish pastries, Norbert?
Oh man, those are amazing.
I didn't know how much they were, so I gave the woman too much, and she just gave me a massive bag full of them, and there were kids behind me.
Yeah, they don't give change. That's right. And they will just give you product.
Yeah, and I bought all of them. And the kids behind me were looking out the press because I had bought them all, so I just gave them to the kids. I'm like, I just spent way too much money on this.
You're a good human.
The lady was laughing at me. But I thought it was pretty interesting that they were brought in later. He had cast somebody else, like, well, we need somebody better. And, and interesting, Teresa Palmer had this to say about the movie. She's like, I'm being replaced by Rachel Bilson in Jumper. There's been things on this movie that were sexist and not professional at all. I cannot believe. Today, as a 19-year-old girl, I was put in such an awful situation. One day I'll tell the whole story, which is one of the crazy Hollywood stories. It's the biggest relief that I got replaced on this movie. For the 2 or 3 months I was attached to it, I could not sleep. I thought I was losing my mind, like my mother, and I decided to quit and go back to Adelaide.
Wow. No, I can see what she's saying. The female characters in that movie, not very strong. And then the random reveal of his mother at the end, spoiler alert, oh, I'm a paladin. Really? Ridiculous. They were clearly trying to set up a sequel in this movie. And the whole time you're just, I don't need more of this. I'm good.
They cast Tom Sturridge too. And then he didn't last. But it's kind of gnarly what she said in this. And I do think that Rachel Bilson definitely got the short shrift, and they kind of said that in the commentary. The guys they were basically saying that she was kind of like the butt of the joke the whole time.